Hey everyone, and welcome to the Beyond Life and Fitness podcast. I'm Cheryl Patton.
And I'm Megan Prince.
We started this podcast as a way to connect with more people who are struggling to fit it all in. The workouts, the food, kids, work, and relationships.
We know that we're not perfect, but we hope that through our struggles and our mistakes and our failures and our successes that we can help more people through their challenges and be successful. So if you want some tips and tricks to help you along your journey to be the best version of yourself, then this is it.
All right, we are back with another episode, and so we're going to keep it super simple and probably short today, dealing with just real food basics, just basic principles that you can follow if you're just trying to maybe get back on top of your nutrition. And so I've got about 7 things listed here, and then we'll just sort of fill in the gaps as we go along. But the first thing that I had was just making sure that you're getting your water in, anywhere from 2 to 4 liters a day. And I think that really depends on how active you are during the day and the time of year. I know for me, like in the winter, I don't tend to drink as much versus in the summer. There's usually about a full liter difference.
Yeah.
For sure. And I know I aim for about 3 liters a day. In the summer, I'm definitely closer to the 4. And that's regardless if I'm training or not. That's just kind of consistent. So again, the water just helps with your digestion. It helps with the elimination. It just helps flush everything out of your system. Anything you want to add about water?
Just that, like, somebody was asking me, how do I, kind of track my water or whatever. And you can, like we talked about, get those water bottles that just have the time markers on them. Right. Because for people that are like, I don't know, I have like 3 of these 500 ml water bottles a day, like the recyclable ones. And I'm just like, just get a bottle that you know how much it is and then just fill it up once, fill it up twice. Because I remember when I first started the fitness journey, again, I tried to like...
She found her
dog
bone.
in her bone. I tried to, just do like a 500 ml water bottle or something. And then I would be like, I don't know how many times I filled this up. Like, I have no idea. And I used to put elastics around it, the color elastics.
Oh, yes.
And then every time I filled it up, I would take one off. I'd have like 5 or 10 or whatever on there, and then I would take it off. But now they have those really cool water bottles that'll track your water, like time. So you're like, okay, it's 9 o'clock. I have to get to this, right? And I have to get to this at 10.
Yep.
So it's I feel like it's helpful. Yep. I have a 1 liter one, and then I've also had a 2 liter one. I love the 2 liter one because then that's your whole day, right?
Yes.
But it's big, and you have to carry around this massive water bottle with you, right? So
it doesn't necessarily fit in the car holder very well. Even my 1 liter does not fit in the car. Well, in the car holder, so it is a bit of a pain, but yeah, I do mine's like a 1 liter, and I aim for 3 of them today. Like, I aim for 3 a day to fill them up. So yeah. In addition to the water, and I know we've talked about this a million times, is getting your protein in. Super, super, super important. It's very easy to overeat on your protein and on your fat, or that could just be me, but again, we want to aim for about 0.8 to 1 gram of protein per body weight. And then sort of a little sidetrack to that is, if you're trying to lose weight, then you can gear your protein goals towards sort of your ideal goal weight. Yes? Because sometimes, like, if you're 250 pounds,
that's a lot of protein.
That's a lot of protein. So again, it could also be a matter of slowly working yourself up, even maybe at your goal weight. Say that's 200 pounds, right? You may just like, that is just overwhelming to a lot, which is fine. So then you back it off, and you just slowly increase the protein as your body gets used to eating more whole foods. So it takes some time.
As you'll know, like, once you start, if you know from training clients, like, if you just bump up their protein, they're like, dude, I am so constipated. Yes. So that's where the water comes in. Yes. That's where the water comes in, right? Because protein will kind of like...
And your fibrous vegetables, right? Like, make sure you are getting some fiber just to help your body break down and eliminate as well. Hopefully it doesn't swing the pendulum too far. But yes, water will definitely help with that.
I know vegetables for a lot of clients and me too, it's hard. So I think that really taking time to like wash and soak your vegetables, I think is so key, because there's so many chemicals now in our foods that, yes, it's great to get vegetables in, but then I'm like, oh my gosh, it's actually kind of like a catch-22. Do I eat the vegetables with the chemicals on it, or do I just not eat the vegetables? Because is that better? Like it's kind of like I'm at a swinging pendulum right now with vegetables, because I'm like, I don't know if they're actually doing any better for my body, unless you get organic and then you try to get organic or from the farm. Then
Farmers
I think it's,
markets,
and then really like soak them. We soak ours in like, I put a teaspoon of baking soda in water and then I just soak it, right? So I think if
and
vegetables
how long do you soak them for?
10-15 minutes.
Yeah.
But I think if vegetables are hard in your stomach, maybe try soaking them or try buying organic.
Yep. It is, so eat protein, produce, and water basically at each meal, and then that's sort of, and I feel that you'll just sort of naturally fill in your gaps, because you're gonna get some fat with your protein, and people are gonna naturally, depending on the type of produce you're having, right? If you're having your root vegetables, there's a carbohydrate. So yeah, keeping it super simple. And then another thing that people tend to worry about or ask questions about is sugar. So obviously we want to keep sugar limited. Sugar is naturally found in our root vegetables, in our fruit, but those natural occurring sources also have all the fiber included in it, versus the sugar that you're going to see in your processed foods.
Yeah.
Right? So definitely want to keep that limited, because our bodies don't need the candy. It doesn't need the cupcakes. It doesn't need those simple carbohydrates to function on. It's not that you can't have it, but we definitely need to try and limit it to maybe once, twice a week, maybe tops, having those little treats included into your diet.
Yeah, and getting the antioxidants, right, from those fruits and vegetables and stuff. Like that's important, I think, for our bodies to fight free radicals and stuff in our bodies.
Yep. And then alcohol is another big one. I know in the macro workshop that you had done online for us was, like how much is 7 calories per?
Well, I think it's like would it be per mil?
Is it per mil?
It's 7 calories. Well, 7 calories per gram, but you can't really measure by gram. So,
well, yeah,
I guess you could. But,
you could on a scale.
But yeah, when you're comparing it to protein and you're comparing it to carbohydrates, it's way closer to the calories and fats. So when people are like, "Oh, I'm just having a glass of vodka on ice and it doesn't have any calories," and I'm like, "Yeah, it does have calories." Like,
yeah, it just has fewer calories if you would mix the vodka with fruit juice.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
It just has way fewer, but it has 7. So it's like close to your fats. So you have to be careful of your
consumption. Yeah. So you definitely want to limit it to definitely something that's very moderate, or scrap it if you completely can, because your metabolism will actually shut down when you drink alcohol. So then your body is technically not even able to burn body fat while there's alcohol in the system. So if your body goals are to reduce body fat, get a little bit of a leaner look, then drinking alcohol, you're fighting. You're fighting a battle. That's just.
And then I don't know if everybody else, but when I drink, I need to eat pizza and shawarmas, and then I feel sick all the next day.
Yeah.
And you're totally like your choices and your choices and your reasoning behind things go out the window. Like you're just like, oh yeah, I'll just have a piece of pizza. It's fine.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But alcohol for me, for sure, is not like I'm going to follow my diet plan and come home and, eat a nice salad and chicken. We did have a friend in college that would come home and eat bran flakes after the bar. And I was like,
that's impressive.
I was like, bran flakes and milk. He was so hardcore, but I was like, that was funny. But most people don't do that, right? So we don't think about our diet when we're drinking alcohol. It's not something that we're like absolutely conscious of.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. Yeah. And the other thing is too, is if you really want to start reeling in your nutrition, really figuring out how much you're eating, are you getting in enough protein, are you drinking enough water, is to take some time, carve out at least 2 weeks, I would say, to start tracking your macros. And there are apps out there that allow you to do that, so that you at least have an idea of how much you're eating, how much of each macro that you're eating. Are you on track? Are you overeating? Are you undereating? Are you getting in the protein that you need? Or at least at the very basics, read your labels. Right?
It opens up your eyes to what times of the day are you eating, when you're craving things. Like if you start tracking things, and you can really see, where am I lacking, where am I not lacking, where do I have to like bump things up, right? Because if you don't write it down, you're just freely eating. It's like throw caution to the wind in your day, and like, so it's easier when you can. When I've had people track or even just write down a diary, they're like, whoa, I did not know that I ate like that. And
especially if they're honest about it.
And that's the thing. That's the thing. Because I remember, I don't know if I said this in my macro thing or not, but I remember my daughter, when I was doing a carbon app one time where I was tracking my calories and stuff. And she thought it was hilarious, because at the end of the day, I was like putting in my calories or whatever. And she didn't really realize that I had one more meal left, but I was like, oh, I'll just take out that peanut butter and then I'll just, add in something else. She's like, Mom, the app, you can't cheat from the app, right? Like you're just taking out something even though you've already eaten. And I'm like, well, the app doesn't need to know I had the tablespoon of peanut butter extra. So you are cheating yourself, when you're like, sure, don't put it in the app what you ate that day, but that's not helping anybody. Like, you're hurting yourself. So if you're not honest about it, nobody can help you. It's not going to help you if you're not self-aware of what the issues are. It's like going to counseling. If you don't know that you have a problem, then you're not going to change it. It's just...
Or if you go to counseling and you're not willing to open up about the reason why you're there. Right? It's the same idea. Yeah, totally.
I had a client that would go to McDonald's and get their bagel BLT in the morning and tell me because it had protein on it. And I was like, that is your justification. The bacon.
I wonder how much calories are in those things. I'd have to Google that. But anyways,
I have no idea. But I was like,
bagels in and of themselves. Like if you look at the bagels that you get at Costco, I believe those bagels are they either 300 calories?
The bagels?
Yeah, just the bagels.
Well, I know those big, huge muffins. My parents used to buy those big, huge muffins, the double chocolate chip.
Yes.
They're 500 or 550.
Yeah. That's
and
a
I'm
lot.
like,
and you can't tell me after you eat that you're still not hungry.
Oh yeah, right? Because then you're just craving more.
Yeah, you've just had this awesome sugar spike. You've just eaten something that's completely void of any type of nutritional value. So your body is still looking for nutrition. So it's still telling you to eat, even though you just ate a giant muffin for 550 calories.
Yeah, and you're like, I'm still hungry. Okay, so McDonald's plain BLT. So this is probably with no cheese. I would say no cheese. 480 calories, 21 grams of fat, and 59 grams of carbohydrates. But it doesn't tell you, so it says, keep reading for the rest of the calories, because it doesn't tell you how much protein's actually in it, which is what...
But you said...
so 16 grams of protein, so she's not wrong that there is a
I know, but when you compare that to the carbohydrate and the fat percentage, that's way, 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 way off.
So when we're talking about... Yeah, when we're talking about balance,
that's not
when
balanced.
You look like 21 grams of fat,
that's
59 grams of carbs, and then only 16 grams of protein. Yeah, she was right. She's getting some protein in it, but I'm like, maybe there is other things. So there is going to be those people that will justify their choices, like
100%.
People I remember when I didn't have children, but they were justifying how McDonald's French fries was a vegetable, and I was like, I don't really
because it's a potato.
Because it's a potato.
Yeah, I know. My family has pulled that one too.
I'm like, that is not a thing. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Does a donut use this whole wheat flour? Does that mean that it's a whole grain thing? I was like, oh my gosh. So when we're tracking our macros, like, be really honest. If you're eating a whole half a cheesecake at night, just write it down.
Just write it down.
Who the heck cares? I don't care what you're eating.
It's just for you, especially if you're just sort of trying to get a better understanding of your current state of nutrition. Is it a pain in the ass? Yes. But you're only doing it for a short period of time just so that you can educate yourself on how you
your
eat.
habits.
Yeah, exactly. Especially if you're not happy with how you feel during the day in terms of your energy levels, maybe the way that you sleep, maybe your sex drive, like the list, like your skin, the list can go on and on and on. Look at your nutrition, but you, like you said, you have to be honest about it. You're going to have to take the time to track it. You're going to have to take the time to track or write it down, like either or, pen to paper or an app.
Yeah.
And
app's better, right? Because it's easy.
Yeah.
And you don't have to like...
And then do the math, because a lot of these will do the math for you,
right,
in terms of like the macro breakdown. Yes, 100%. So... Yes, I think 2 weeks out of your life is worth it if it means that you're now going to be better educated on how you need to change your eating habits in order to feel better, look better, and just be a better human.
Yeah, we got to be self-aware. It's all of the, like, we talked about it before, all the things that we really need to be self-aware of.
Yeah.
That people need to, like, heal from trauma or whatever. You always just don't want to because it's hard, and you don't want to change because
change is hard.
Change is hard.
Totally get it.
Change is really hard. So, yeah, just paying attention and being self-aware of the stuff you're putting into your body every day.
Yeah,
is super helpful.
Super helpful. And basically, the bottom line is just to keep it as real as possible and as minimally processed as possible. And just really sort of think, like, does your food, can it run, swim, fly, or did it grow from the ground? And if you kind of think of it in those particular categories, you're going to be good to go. And just limit the processed stuff as much as humanly possible. Alcohol and your sugars, your still simple carbohydrates. And yeah, I think that's an awesome place to start in, you know, learning about your habits and what you need to change.
Yeah, and if you have to, like, if there's more than one ingredient usually on the side of whatever you're buying, like I said to the kids, when you're buying fruit, vegetables, and meat, you don't really have to read the side of a label because there isn't one. So if there's no label on the side of what you're buying, it's probably like
a good thing.
Yeah. Yeah, if you have to pick up the label and read it. And my kids will pick up labels now and be like, oh my God, Mom, that has like 50 things in it. We're not buying that, right? Or they went to buy dark chocolate the other day, and there was like a cheaper one at Food Basics, and then they looked at the one beside it, which was more expensive, but they're like, the first ingredient in the cheaper one was chocolate liquor, which I don't even know what that is. And then the second one was like...
actual like cocoa.
Yeah, actual with like 3 ingredients. So then they were like, okay, well, we'll spend that money to buy the one that like...
A better quality
one, right? So look at the labels for sure, but in general, try not to buy things that... have labels if you
and when and again, if people are sort of thinking, well, what do I do about bread? What do I do about this and this? But again, like, I know for bread, find sprouted bread, which means it's in the refrigerator or the frozen section, because it's sprouted, there's no preservatives in it, and it's about as basic as you're going to get.
Yeah, and you know, my client said to me today, he's like, I felt so much fuller. I was eating white bread before, and then I had the whole grain bread. He's like, I felt so much fuller. Like, I felt really good after it. I felt like I didn't need to eat anymore. I'm like, that is a good thing, right? So then you might spend less because you don't have to eat 3 slices. You can eat 1 and still feel full.
Exactly. And is it more expensive? Yes, which means you may not eat, as you said, 3 slices of it. You may be good with just the 1 or 2. Exactly. All right, so there are some real food basics to get you started. And then, of course, if you ever have any questions, always feel free to reach out. And we'll catch you in the next podcast. Thanks, everybody, for listening today. And we truly appreciate you. And let us know what your biggest takeaway was today. And if you have any questions you want answered on the podcast. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe to this podcast to automatically receive your episodes and to help us reach more listeners. We would love to connect with you on our socials, either Facebook or Instagram, with links in the show notes. Till next time, keep taking those small steps towards your best life.